Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review. And before I get started, I just want to know, do you know who this character is? Okay. I mean, if you do, that's fine. I'm just wondering. This is more for people who might not know who this character is. Okay. Now, if you don't know who this character is Steve Smith. He's the son of Stan and Francine Smith on the show American Dad. And Steve, he's basically what you would call kind of the quintessential nerdy kid. He's into fantasy. He's into stuff like Lord of the Rings, Never Ending Stories, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty much what he's into. So, and the reason why I wanted to, why I brought this up is the movie that I'm going to talk about tonight is I would honestly think if the character of Steve Smith ever watched this movie, it would probably become his favorite movie of all time. The movie we're talking about is from 1996, and it's called Femalien, and is brought to us by the good folks at Full Moon Entertainment. So, yeah, this one here is right alongside of their catalog, right along with Ginger Dead Man and Puppet Master, Subspecies, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they do a lot of skin flicks too. So, but yeah, after you get done watching this, I couldn't help it. When I finished watching this movie, that was one of the things that popped into my head. If Steve Smith from American Dad had a favorite movie of all time, this would probably end up being it. Okay, so now to start talking about the movie. The movie basically it's a cross. It makes you think of all different kinds of films. It makes you think of films like My Stepmother is an Alien. That's definitely one that comes to mind. It makes you think of movies like Species. So the premise of this movie is definitely not new in any form. I mean, it's definitely been done before. The storyline concerns an alien that comes from outer space and comes to Earth to monitor and study human behavior and report back to its home planet. And particularly the one thing that they want to study is the sexual activities of people. And so the alien comes to Earth, and it takes the form of the woman here. Which, by the way, this is definitely misleading. Okay, you see like the little thing here over the breast and the little head plate and everything that she's wearing there. None of you don't see that. She's not wearing that stuff in the movie. So basically, she just looks like this beautiful, sexy woman, and she appears in a house, and she's got this kind of like this alien kind of a thing that she works with, and it's talking to her, and she talks to it, and they talk about how they need to study humans and that they need to learn about sexuality, reproduction, seducing, eroticism, things like that. And when these two are talking, I can't help but, for in my opinion, I can't help but think of the comedy My Stepmother is an Alien with Kim Basinger, because she walked around with this base. It was like a purse, but it had this kind of snake kind of eye creature that actually the voice was done, I believe, by Paula Prentice. And it was like they would sit there and they would talk, and it was the same situation. It was like she come to Earth in that movie. She come to Earth to study human life forms, and to see what people do and how they do it and everything. Another thing it makes me think of too is like Third Rock from the Sun. So if Third Rock from the Sun was softcore porn, this is what it would be. But anyway, so this alien takes a human form, and they establish that's what it's there for. And the funny part is, though, is like what you find out right away is somehow or another, this female alien, she manages to land in the one area where pretty much every man is a muscle bound, six pack beefcake stud, and every woman looks like she walked off the pages of like Hustler, Playboy, Penthouse, Maxim, and Stuff magazine, all rolled into one. So the women are total knockouts. The men are all beefcakes and everything. So the first thing she notices, it doesn't take long at all. She sees that there's a woman sunbathing in her backyard. It's the neighbor. And the husband comes up, and he's all dressed up in the suit, and he tells her he's going to go, and he's got to go to work now. And she's like, no, I don't want you to go to work. Why don't you call in today? He's, oh, I can't. And So she starts kissing and everything. And so he's, I'm sorry, baby, I got to go to work. And, she wants him to put sun lotion on her. And he starts to, but no, baby, I got to go to work and all this. So he leaves. And, oh, man, this is no fun. So she's kind of putting it on herself. And, um, but the guy comes back a couple minutes later. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and stay here with you, and so they start having sex, and it's this long drawn out sex scene. And meanwhile, the female alien, she she's watching them, and she decides to start masturbating while they're having sex in the backyard. So then that's done, and then they her and this alien companion of hers, they talk about, she's like, I could use food, maybe I need to get food. And so she ends up being teleported to a diner. And in the diner, you meet the main character, pretty much the main character. Her name is Sun, played by Jacqueline Lavelle. Now, Jacqueline Lavelle, this is a picture of her right here. Hang on just a second. Yeah, sorry. This is her right here. Jacqueline Lavelle. She's been in a number of the Full Moon movies. Been in movies like Head of the Family and so on. Um, One movie that I distinctly remember her from was produced by Playboy, which I had mentioned. If anybody had ever watched my video where I talk about the remembering the erotic thrillers of the 1990s, I talk about the movie called I'm Watching You, which is basically a erotic softcore version of Hitchcock's movie Rear Window. And Jacqueline Lavelle here, she was, the star of the movie. So that's pretty much what I remember her from, even though I have seen her in a couple of the Full Moon movies. And so her character's name is Sun, and she runs, this diner, and the guy that works with her cooking, his name is Drew. And like I said, he's this, big muscle bound guy, he's got long blonde hair and everything else, built like a bodybuilder and all this other kind of stuff. And so she's talking with them, and she's getting to know them, and they ask her name, and she comes up with the name Kara. And so they're, she's like, okay, well, Kara, it's nice to meet you. I'm Sun, this is Drew. And so they're starting to get to know each other. Then this guy comes up, and his name is TJ, and we find out that basically this is where we kind of get into the kind of plot, if you want to call it that this movie has. He comes up and he tells her that he's going to buy out, telling Sun that he's going to buy out her place, and that he's going to pretty much tear the restaurant down. He's going to put in like a gym, and we find out he's got like a massage parlor next door and stuff like that. And he's hitting on Kara, telling her she needs to come over and see him sometime and everything else. And so, but Kara decides, she kind of realizes that they don't like each other, that Drew and Sun, and they're not crazy about this guy. So anyway, so they're talking, and Sun accidentally spills coffee on herself, and so she goes in back to change, and Kara comes up, puts her hand on her, and when she does that, she starts to fantasize that she's laying on the lawn, not a lawn chair, but laying on like a beach chair, and she's playing with herself and masturbating, and you know and then she snaps out of it, and she's like, wow, that's weird. And one thing I forgot to mention, that there was a point where when Kara first comes into the bar, or the diner. Wow, I'm sorry, I can talk, I swear I can talk. But she comes into the diner, and she sees that there's a book on the counter about aliens and alien encounters and stuff, and we reveal that Sun is actually very interested in the idea of meeting an alien. Of course, little does she know, she's talking to one right now. But Kara says, I'm here, I want to, like, see what people do and this and that. Is there anything you could do to help me out? And so Sun tells her to go visit this photographer friend of hers. And so, she's like, yeah, you want a wild experience? Go see this photographer friend of mine. And so she goes, and she sees this photographer, and he's taking pictures of this guy and girl, and they're in black leather and stuff. And he's all like, yeah, I'm getting pissed off. And the photographer, he's all, yeah, I'm getting pissed off because, you girls or you two are not giving me you two are not giving me the sexiness that I want and all this. And so Kara goes up to him. She's like, do you mind if I try something? He's like, yeah, go ahead and knock yourself out. So he goes up to the guy and the girl and touches them, and, basically puts you know, puts a power over the two of them, and then the two of them start to get into this wild, passionate, erotic, sex love making session. And meanwhile, the guy's, he's taking pictures and everything, and he gets done, and he couldn't be happier. He got what he wanted, and it's like, yeah, I think these are some of the best pictures I've taken yet. And of course, meanwhile, while the two of them are having sex, and he's photographing it, of course, Kara, she's sitting off in a chair watching them, and she's masturbating again, and so she gets done with that, and then they turn around and they tell her, she's like, yeah, wow, I like, I want to get some clothes and stuff. So he's like, yeah, okay, go over here to this clothing shop, and then, they'll help you out. They'll hook you up with good clothes and all this. So Kara, she does go to this, clothing shop, and, she, talks to the two women running the place. And of course, the two women are, you know, gorgeous, lovely beauties. And, so they're, like, yeah, let us show you some stuff. And so they put her in, they got her sitting in a chair, and then they come out and they're starting to kind of like, they're kind of modeling different lingerie for her to look at. And then, of course, the two women, get into girl scene there. And so they're, getting into their passionate lovemaking. And then, while this is going on, Kara, she starts masturbating again. So she's watching them, and everybody has a fun time with it. And so then, they get done with that, and, they go up to Kara and they give her an invitation, tell her there's going to be a wild party tonight and she should go. And so she's, okay, she's happy. Plus, they give her some clothes free on the house. So now she's, got like a black leather jacket, skirt, boots, the whole get up there. So she goes back to the, she goes back to the diner, and she, talks to Son, and, she's like, wow, yeah, that was great. Thanks, and all this stuff. And so she starts talking to Drew. He comes along, and she starts kissing him, and, she's talking about, yeah, I want to try this, I want to try sex and everything for myself. Would you be willing to help me out with that? And so Drew's like, yeah, okay, let's go ahead. And so, but Son is all like, you got to get the coffee before, you can leave. He's like, come on, Son, you're killing me here. And so it's like, you do it or else I'll make you stay here and wash dishes. And he's like, okay, fine. So he goes and back, and so Kara, she asks Son, have you two ever been together? And she's like, yeah, we slept together a couple of times, but we think we work better as friends. And so Kara goes into the back room, and, she teleports him to her bedroom, and the two of them, they get into this wild, passionate love making. And, they have this wild, sexy, erotic sex scene, and, and they have a great time. And, he's basically like, wow, girl, you're out of this world. And she's like, you have no idea. It has that kind of dialogue to it. And so she ends up going to the party later that night. And, that she was invited to by the two girls in the clothing store. And they go in there and they kind of see like this performance, and then you realize she's like, okay, she's looking around all these couples and stuff, and she realizes like, wow, and she pretty much puts her power over them, and everybody in this whole place starts having sex. So so yeah, so that scene ends, and then she goes back to the diner, and she's uh, excuse me, she realizes that Son is very upset because she's going to lose her place because that guy TJ bought it out. And so so now we're going to kind of resolve this little problem here. So she goes, so Kara goes next door, and she's talking to this guy TJ. And at first she goes in there under the guise that she's going in to get a massage and a rub down. And so, she gets on the table, he starts rubbing her down, and she's all like, why can't you just give her the paper? It seems logical to me, and all this. And he's all like, well, she didn't pay her, she didn't pay her taxes. She didn't, do what she was supposed to do. And, everything else, she lost her business. It's like, she ended up giving away more food than she was actually selling. So, but, Kara is actually able to use her powers to um, seduce TJ, and then they don't really have sex, but she kind of does this thing with him where she gives him a really good time. And so she asks him, can I have the papers? It's like, oh yeah, oh my god, no woman's ever done that to me, what did you do? And all this stuff. And she's like, "Can I have the papers?" It's like, "Yeah, they're in the briefcase." And so she gets them and says, "Okay, yeah, I'll see you later." She gives him a kiss and goes off. So she goes back to the diner, and Drew is there. He's like picking up the chairs, closing everything up, and she's all like, "Yeah, I got a present for son. Where is she at?" And yeah, she's down the street at the yoga studio, and or not the yoga. What was it called? Meditation chamber. I'm sorry, it's right here. But so she goes to this meditation room, and same thing. There's these couples there, and Sun is kind of sitting off to herself, and she's meditating. And they're all meditating. So she goes up to Sun, and she's all like, "Hey, I got something for you, and I got the deed, and all this kind of stuff." And so TJ and these two guys, they come in, and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, you tricked us. We want the deed to the restaurant back, and all this kind of stuff." And so you know, Kara uses her power. She ends up getting everybody all worked up in the room. So another long sex scene. So TJ and his two guys, they get taken down by these hot to trot women. So they're all having a good time, and it allows Kara and Sun to escape. They go, she's able to teleport them back to they get back to the diner, and Kara's all like, "Isn't this great? You got your place back." And Sun's like, though he's just going to keep coming. So he's just going to keep coming and coming and coming. You know what? Just let him have it. So like, we'll figure something else out. And so Kara decides now she wants to seduce Sun. And so they go to, she teleports him back to her bedroom. And then, she reveals to Sun that she's an alien. And Sun is like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. I've always wondered what it would be like to be with an alien and all this stuff." And it's like, "Well, now you're going to find out." And so we have, another girl on girl scene. It's like very sexual, very erotic, all this kind of stuff. And then when it's over, she's at first, Kara's talking about she might be leaving. And Sun is like, "No, I don't want you to leave, and I want you to stay here." And the alien, you know, companion that comes with Kara reveals to her that no, it's okay, I gotta go, but you can stay here. And she's all like, "But yeah, but we're here to do a job." It's like, "Well, you can still." He's telling her, "Well, you could still do your job because we still need information. You could stay here and study humans and study what they do, how they do things, how they operate, things like that." And so they decide, okay, it's official that Kara is going to stay, and her and Sun are going to become lovers. And to top it all off, they Kara decides to teleport Drew there to the bedroom with them. And so now pretty much the movie ends with Drew being the luckiest guy in the world, because now he's got two hot women that he can, the three of them basically kind of, I guess you could say, they end up having like a polyamorous relationship, I guess you could say. So Drew ends up becoming, the luckiest guy in the world. He gets two hot women that, they just pretty much have orgies all the time now. So, and that's pretty much where the movie ends. And but I mean, it's softcore, erotica. Would I call it erotica? At first, I was going to say no, but honestly, I think I could honestly say that, yeah, this does qualify as erotica, because it is about, as I stated before in other movie reviews that I've done when I talked about erotica, it seems like some of the best erotica comes out when a character, is they reveal their true colors, or they reveal their true identity through their desires and through their, learning experiences, and finding themselves and realizing, trying to find happiness and trying to find, their place in the world, through their desires and fantasies and stuff. And in a way, it is kind of this way because Kara does, she does kind of go through a journey of, she starts off as an alien, she lands on Earth, doesn't know anything about anybody or anything on Earth, but she's, over time, she's able to, through these experiences, she's able to discover who she is, what she wants, what she's looking for, and ultimately she does learn, and she does have a character arc in this. So in it, and ultimately she does, she decides to stay. She realizes she wants to be here. She wants to be with Sun and Drew, and so yeah, I would definitely say that this qualifies as it could be erotica, but it would very much easily be dismissed more like softcore just kind of softcore porn because, like I said, the movie starts off with Kara gets to Earth, and then it's like okay, she sees a couple have sex, and then she's like okay, so then she gets sent to one place, then she gets sent to another place, and she sees sex and she masturbates. Then she gets sent to another place, she sees sex and then she masturbates. Then she gets sent to another place, and then she decides to engage in sex herself. So then she, after that's done, then she goes to another place and people engage in sex. And then, another scene where, she goes um, she goes to the meditation chamber. She gets everybody to engage in sex there. And then, she goes with Sun, and then the two of them engage in sex. And then the movie ends with bringing Drew into the mix, and then the three of them engages. So it would definitely fall into the category of softcore porn because it is basically one sequential sex scene after the other. But like I said, you could definitely consider this erotica though, because it's like I said, it does have a character who has an arc and basically comes to discover things about herself. So yeah, I would definitely say that if you want to have an erotica collection, you could add this in there. Um, but just I would say it's probably not something I would watch as often. Normally, like if I want to watch like erotica, I would probably put something on more like something from Zalman King or something like Red Shoe Diaries or something like that. Something with a little bit more going on to it, but still, I would definitely say, if you are wanting to build an erotic movie collection, and if you're not, I mean, if you're kind of not into the idea of, like aliens and sex and, aliens coming to Earth and having sex and stuff and trying to learn about it and all this other kind of stuff, if that's not your cup of tea, then I would say, yeah, go ahead and avoid this. You don't need it in your erotica collection. But if you're open minded and, you kind of like a variety of stories in your erotica collection, I would say, yeah, go ahead and give Femalien a chance. I mean, the women are beautiful. The men are handsome. Yeah, I mean, it works. So it's like there's the back there. I don't know if you can see much of that, but I would say, yeah, go ahead. I mean, if you're open minded to this kind of thing and it doesn't bother you, but if you're kind of, if you're like building an erotica collection and you just want something that's kind of more just steeped in reality and everything else, and also, too, if you're kind of put off by low budget special effects, because this movie really does have low budget special effects. The CGI in this is, to say it's appalling would be a compliment, but but I mean, of course, obviously, you're not really watching it for that, but obviously, but so anyway, yeah, that's pretty much about all I can say about it. If like I said, if you're if you want to build an erotica collection and you're open to a wide spectrum, you want a wide variety of stories and stuff, then yeah, go ahead and put it in there. And if you're not against it, but like I said, if you're just kind of more on a straight and narrow kind of a path, I'd say avoid it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. We talked about Femalien from 1996, starring the gorgeous Jacqueline Lavelle. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. There'll be weekly videos posted. I do movie reviews. I do, all kinds of fun stuff. So hopefully I have some good entertainment for everybody. And, until then, this is Sinema77, horror cult film lover, wishing you a good night, pleasant dreams. Take care.